Welcome to Solo Cupboard's podcast. And it's one of those episodes and it's one of those feelings where you know from your heart that it's going to be a long one. It is going to be a long one, fascinating one, inspiring one with a fascinating, inspiring guest, Aditya Verma. For those who are looking for some clickbait, he's the cinematographer of the famous Ritwis songs, Liggy, Sage, the famous Pratik Kuhar song, Cold Mess, the cinematographer of Kias and Cosmos, cinematographer of Namdev Bhau. Did I get that right?
Yes, absolutely correct.
Right. And many, many, many other wonderful works that whose list you can check out on IMDb. He has an IMDb page. Can you believe it? A guy from my hometown, from Tirupati, Andhra Pradesh, from my high school, one of my favorite seniors of all time, from college to school. Right? He's been one of my favorite seniors. Didn't fall into this trap of 9 to 5 and left and just chased his dreams. And here he is, and here's his story. And we're going to talk a lot about it. And welcome, Anaya.
Thank you, man. What an intro, though. Thank you so much. It's one of my favorite intros. I don't think people spend so much time in such a long intro, but I'm so glad, man. You think so many good things about me. But man, I'm very, very glad to see you. And it's been a long time for us. Like we were talking before starting this, that it's been like 9 years for us. And firstly, I'm very excited to just talk to you and spend some time because thanks to the lockdown, we got some time to spend and talk.
And
Just let's go.
you met me at my house 9 years ago in Tirupati. I was in my college, young skinny guy, and I offered you a samosa and you didn't take it because you were on your fitness drive mantra. What was going on back then? Just tell me about it. Just if you can briefly.
See, I remember coming to your place in my mountain bike, in my cycle, if you remember, with the helmet and everything.
Yes.
I remember like vividly hitting some, I don't know, some 10 kilometers that day in the
Mm,
cycle. And then after that, I came to your place because we were trying to meet and stuff.
mm,
And like even now, like I always like to be fit. And I always tell people, like in any job or any kind of thing they do, fitness is the most important thing to keep your mind, to keep your physically to be on the job and like always be on the toe and keep running and do stuff that you like. See, honestly, most of the times, what stops you, even if you are like the most creative, most talented, and most amazing artist,
mm.
laziness stops you, like to actually be like your best. So I think I don't want that to ever come in between what I'm doing. So I think it's always great to just be fit and be running, man. And this is something I'm like well known for, even in the industry, that like I'm always on my toes. Like when the shoot starts, from the time the shoot starts until the end in the set, I am like the most hardworking guy that I can proudly say. So I'm
Like
like
you
always running and
you do editing, cinematographer, photography, right? And I think you worked on Monto as what? Still photographer and
yeah, I was a still photographer. Yes.
right. And creative artists are not exactly known for the fitness, right? So where did that come from? That's my curiosity right there. How time should be a factor. How do you manage time?
See, again, like for me, in my job at least, like when you're doing, especially this, there is a lot of running involved, and also my cameras are huge, right? And there is like really so much of weight I'm lifting, and at the same time, my back, if I don't work out or if I don't like do like say
Mm,
some kind of like say 4 or 5 days pre-workouts, or like if I don't stretch and all that, my back gives up after 3 4 hours of shooting. Your back just stops like working. Like you need to like push through the whole day.
makes
And
sense.
that's with, even if you work out, even if you don't work out, that's like any scenario. But like how long can you push, how strong can you go there,
Mm.
actually that actually separates you from the rest of the world, man. And also, like all these romanticizing apart, I love to look good, man, just generally, because in a set where there are like 200 300 people looking up to you and like listening to your word, like art directors, gaffers, lightmen, like actors, everyone has to look up to you and look at you and listen to you. I feel like there is a thing where you need to be presentable and like at least give that posture of, oh, okay, like we can listen to this guy. Whatever he's
Hmm.
doing, we can at least listen to this guy.
You
And
got
for
to
me, that's very
you got to
important.
look the part to get the part, huh?
Yeah, you don't have to, because I know so many people who are doing great without like even looking for the part. But like I actually believe in this thing where like even if I don't look for the part, I want people to just like take me as an example. Like so many people come on my set, like they're like ACs and they're like photographers and cinematographers.
Hmm.
They also need to have this kind of a discipline to like spend time on themselves. Like it's not always about working, man. It's
Hmm.
always about like like 360, right? Like you need to grow like in you need to be happy all around.
Right.
And sometimes when you're not looking your best, no, like this happens with everyone, man. When you're not looking your best and when you're not like that pushes you down, that pulls you down a little. I think that's
Hmm.
also very important. But anyway, too much about looks, man. I've always
Yeah,
been like this. You know me, man, from the school.
I
I've
know, I know,
always
I
been. I
know.
was.
I mean, yeah, I remember. First of all, one thing I remember you from school is you were the tallest guy I've ever seen back then, and you were so tall. I remember you used to be on the drums, and the drums were so low. You were just your hands would literally hang like hangers, to drum that thing. You know what I mean? I very clearly remember that picture of yours, and yeah, and from Kendri Vidyalaya Tirupati to Mumbai, we'll talk all about that. But of all your skills, right? Editing, cinematography, photography, how would you rank them? What comes to you naturally? Is it modeling?
Definitely not. I think I'll be the worst model ever.
Okay. But you did
So
try,
I
right?
think,
You did try.
yeah, I tried everything and I did like for the time being, I always was doing good in whatever I did. And this is what I always believe, right? Like even tomorrow, if I don't do cinematography, if I don't do photography, whatever I'll do, right, I'll try and give my everything to it. So
Hmm.
in that way, I think I'll probably do really well with whatever I do, man. This is something that like it's not self-boasting, but I can't do 20 things at once, right? Like say for
Mm-mm-mm.
example, if I am today doing cinematography, I am only focusing on cinematography.
Mm.
And tomorrow, if I'm doing, say, gardening, or if I'm like, I don't know, if I'm doing something else, like say traveling, I am focusing only on traveling.
Mm.
But, and I think like these are all the things that you've mentioned are some things that come very naturally to me. Like I don't have to like there is something that I don't stop myself, like when I'm editing or when I'm shooting.
Mm.
Also with the team I've created, with the team I've come across, all these people, they don't ever stop me from what my like natural instincts are. And that's very important as an artist, where other people let you do your job,
Mm.
because
How
there's
do,
so many people and
how
they
do you rank
sorry.
them though? How do you rank them in
So
terms of
I think if you have to rank,
editing, cinematography, photography, still photography?
uh, I don't know, man. I think, like I said, like I don't know, man. I really don't know. I don't
Mm.
think I'll be able to answer this where I can just like rank like one particular thing. But
Mm.
on a given day, I can rank. Say, for example, if today, if you ask me,
Mm.
uh, probably I'm a good colorist. I'm a
Mm.
better colorist because I don't
Right.
have any inspiration to shoot, or I don't have any camera. Like I'm not carrying cameras, or
Mm-mm-mm.
like today I'm a good colorist because my whole focus is to just like color grade what I'm doing right now. So like that, I'm like intense about what I'm doing at the time.
Mm.
But if like you guys have to rank it, man. Like to be fair, like you guys, and knowing you, the kind of short films you used to make back in time and the kind of stuff you used to do, you should be the one as a critic doing doing and like giving me an like insight about myself, and that will help me as an artist to grow.
I don't know. I don't know if I'm qualified to do that, but I would really like to focus on cinematography, right? Because I think of all the things, let's be honest, it is the toughest one. I don't know if you can agree with this, right? Throughout the history, right, filmmakers have their standard cinematographers. There is a Jodi, right? Like Christopher Nolan has Valley Fister. These days, Hoytema and Hoytema. Spielberg has Janusz. I don't know his
Yes.
Jewish name. You and the director Dargai. I'm not sure if I am pronouncing her name
Yeah, I
correctly.
know. You can
Correct me
call
if I'm
her
right.
Daria.
Daria, right?
Yes.
Yourself
Hmm.
and Daria have become a jodi of in itself, And you're the ones who shot this. Jodi is the ones who shot all those Ritwis songs that I was talking about, all the Pratik Kaur songs that I was talking about, and also she made the
Namdeva.
movie itself, right? Kia on Cosmos,
Yes.
right? So,
No, Namdeva.
Ramdev,
She was the
sorry, I'm
director
sorry,
of Namdeva.
I'm sorry. Yes,
Yes.
Ramdev Bhau. And how did this collaboration come together? When did you meet her? How do you think a director or a cinematographer pick themselves like that? How do they know this is the man or this is the woman?
See, I'll be very honest to you. When I first met her, I
Mm,
wasn't even sure if I would become a cinematographer,
mm,
because I wasn't here actually for like doing cinematography alone.
mm,
It was when I met her, and like a lot of things changed because she liked me as a cinematographer,
mm,
and she actually took me in one of the behind the scenes for the feature film that she shot. There's a film called Tino Radha which she shot, which is on Netflix.
mhm,
So she directed it, and I did BTS for the film, like
mm,
behind the scenes for the film. Like when Daria was shooting, I just came to Bombay, and I asked one of my friends that if I can go like and like join any of the film crews or something where I
mhm,
can like understand filmmaking and stuff. I did not know what I was going to do. I did not know what I would do because I was like still doing fashion photography back in Delhi, and then I just left Delhi,
mm,
came to Bombay. And suddenly when I was in Bombay, I called one of my friends, and she said, you know what, like there is this really cool team. They are actually making a feature film, but they're not looking for it like for someone in the direction team or anything, because initially I remember asking for getting into direction team.
mm,
So she said, but they want someone who can do BTS, but you're a
mm,
fashion photographer and stuff. Do you think you can do that? I said, yeah, of course. I just want to be in a set in any form or shape. And I said, okay, let's do it. And then we went. So what happened? The first day I met Daria was for a music video that she was doing for the music director
mm,
who came from Ukraine. She was doing a music video for her, like in barter system where she would give the music for the film, but she'll have to shoot a music video for her. So we were doing a music video for her, and I remember they were shooting with like absolutely no budget. They were shooting with like iPhone and stuff,
mm,
and I for shooting BTS of the music video, I took like a lot of equipment. I had equipment back in Delhi. I took a lot of equipment, and then Dheer and Daria, they see, oh, okay, this guy has DSLR. Let's use his DSLR for the shoot. And then they used my cameras, and I I had extra camera. I told the like, because I have another camera, should I shoot like some frames also that I like when I'm not around the D? He said, yeah, go for it. He
mm,
was like, ये कुछ भी करने दो, ये तो camera दे दिया, now we are good with him.
mm.
So and then shooting, and then
The
during the
the places where a DSLR can get you, even in my college, people who own DSLRs in my college. Sorry, go on.
Yeah, so I think, see, that's something because I worked hard before in Delhi, and then I knew something. And what happened was like, so Dheer, see, in all the combinations you mentioned, they're always DP and director.
Mm,
Nowhere we know this hidden gem of a producer or the creative director. Like those names, they never come out. And
yeah.
that is Dheer for us. And in our team, our core strength is Dheer. You know,
Mm,
there are so many times I and Dar, we fall apart. We don't know what to do. We are like absolutely not ready to shoot. And
mm,
then Dheer is the one who actually brings us together and says, dude, both of you come here. You guys need
right.
to understand we can do this. And then he's always like the producer. He's the owner of Jugaad Motion. He's the like one who started Jugaad Motion Pictures. His name is
Mm,
Dheer Momaya. So
mm,
he, like in the middle of the shoot, he was asking me, do you know anyone who does editing and stuff? I said, I do editing. If you want, I can help you. And then Daria said, okay, you know what, come over tomorrow, we'll
mm,
check both your footages, and then we'll start editing the music video. And then I went to Daria's place. I remember going to her Bandra house, and then we were editing, and like I knew that my footage, I wanted to separate my footage from the main DP's footage. So I
mm,
put all my footage separately in a folder. So it's called B cam and A cam. And
right.
we take one scene, and Daria is like, oh, okay, I like from the B, let's put B. Like she kept
Mm-hmm.
putting from the B. And then she
Right.
was like, dude, like we got some really sick shots in B. And then we go back and into the, like, there is this place called Whistling Woods, which is a huge, like, it's like a film school in
Okay.
Bombay.
Okay.
But Daria used to work there, so we used to go there in the studio and like work and stuff. And the big screen we were seeing,
Hmm.
Dheer was like, "Bro, you're sick, man. You got some insane stuff. Can you show some of your other videos and stuff?" And then I showed him some time lapses and stuff that I've made before. It's like Daria was like, "Dude, listen to me. I see so many cinematographers, but you have an eye. You have an eye." It's like I don't know what to expect and what to see. And later I did BTS for the film Tino Radha after that music video, where Daria and Dheer really loved my stuff, what I was shooting with the videos and photos. And like suddenly one day they just say, you are shooting Namdeva. After we
Hmm.
had like a long lot of run after we
Yeah.
went, and yeah.
And what is the homework that you do, right? For example, let's just take this project of Ritwiz's songs, right? For example, you get
Hmm.
Liggy. What are the inputs that you get from what they want, and what is the homework that you do as a cinematographer? How do you choose your lighting? How do you choose your framing? Do you do it beforehand? How much of that comes to you intuitively on the set? How much of it is just predetermined? So, what is your relationship with planning and do it on the spot and so on, like if you can take your experiences from the shooting of Ritviz's songs as an example for a start.
See, I'll tell you, like, because like everything, whatever I learned is on the job, right? Like, I never
Hmm.
went to a film school. I never learned, like, everything was either I assisted one fashion photographer
Hmm.
or like everything on the job I was understanding and doing whatever short films or whatever I was doing. Everything I learned and like understood from the job,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
So the most important thing that I learned after Namdev, because Namdev, everything was in such a way that we go to the location, we
Hmm.
do the recce, and then we decide, oh, this shot will fit perfectly here. Let's just shoot here. And then next day, for the next day, in the night, we'll go somewhere, and then without even understanding exactly where the sun is coming from, how it is going to come, we create this world around it, and then we just say, oh, we're going to shoot. So Namdeva,
Hmm.
we had to do like we had so much energy. We had like very small crew, like 7 people. Everyone only wanted to make like really amazing frames and like amazing film. So we had nothing but like in our heads just to like get a film that is golden.
Hmm.
And in Namdeva, like we didn't have any time for like obviously Dar and Dheer, they did a lot of pre-production before I got into the project.
Hmm.
Because I was busy shooting for a fashion film back in Delhi. And then during that time, they were like figuring out producers, they were figuring out like money, and then they were figuring out what kind of frames we'll do and how we'll do and stuff. So they like Dheer and Dar actually covered a lot of work in Namdeva for me. But when we went on the shoot, everything is like every day is a new day for us. We
Hmm.
would like we would shoot like 40 shots a day, and like we have to go from like one part of Ladakh to another part of Ladakh, and then we
Hmm.
used to plan only in our heads for the time and everything.
Hmm.
That was till Namdeva. And like what we learned from Namdeva and like succeeding ad films or like music videos that we shot was we need to do like proper planning, and then we should put everything in paper, and we are
Hmm.
not going to disturb what we are going to do on the shots
Hmm.
unless there is something that we really like and we can fight for it. And Daria has to fight for it. I have to, Dheer have. Like even in Namdeva, we three were like fighting for what we like and what we thought was good and what we had to get. So like that and Namdeva passed. And then when we came to like understanding like we are a team and what we are good at, and we started doing a lot of pre-production. So
Hmm.
80% of our work now is done before even starting to shoot the first frame. So
Hmm.
all of our work is almost done. We decide on color palettes. Like as a cinematographer, I don't just actually sit with Dhirandar, especially with Dhirandar or
Hmm.
Pranith now in Jugaad Motion Pictures. So all these directors, I just don't sit as like, oh, okay, I'm a DP coming to the shooting and going away. I'm not ever doing that. I always take myself as a filmmaker who understands editing, who understands how we need to light up or how we need to set up. See, that is one thing that I feel is a bit strong at, is like I understand emotions. Like as a
Hmm.
cinematographer, a lot of people get into this like technicality, like doing
Hmm.
like so much of technical stuff. I feel sometimes if I don't feel it on the set, I just like I always be honest, even though the
Hmm.
frame is great and stuff. I still remember for Cold Mess, we had like 20-30 great shots shot on film in the night and stuff, which we didn't ever like, which never saw day of light.
Wow.
So I think it's just like yeah, man. I think now we have a proper structure where, as a cinematographer, I'll tell you like what my process goes in is like I first listen to the first idea,
Hmm.
and then we jam like more ideas. Like say for a music video, we say, oh, we'll shoot that, we'll shoot this, and then I come up with few references. Daria
Hmm.
comes up with few references. The agency or the musician comes up with like what he has in his mind, he
Hmm.
or she has in their mind, and we like bring all that together in the table, and then we sit and jam. Like Dheer brings in so much of ideas. If you won't believe in Liggy, like everything that's cool in there, it's all because of Dheer and Dar, because Dheer
Hmm.
comes up with like these ideas in every second. He can create one idea, and because we are not like say for example, it's like the most childish, really bad amateurish idea we
Hmm.
still throw in at the table, and that is what I love about our team, where like even if it's like the most stupid thing, we just say it, and out of those comes like some of the genius stuff that come out like while we shoot. Like say for example that like there is this shot of like this bat looking at silver and turning it to
Hmm.
like the
Hmm.
vampire stuff. All that is coming from like Dheer just throwing some ideas, and then like we execute it, and we just say let's try it, if it works out types. So like that, and then once we get the idea and everything sort out, I take 2 days to like figure out what kind of equipment I'm going to use, what kind of focal length I'm going to use, or what kind of like how the actors look and how the actors profiles are, like what kind of focal length match for their like good, like how to make them look good and look correct for the role. And after that I make like a proper color palette, which is like a PDF. For each scene I make like color
Hmm.
palette, like this is to have like to have like say art director or like costume and makeup, everyone in one page saying, oh, this kind of clothes I want, this kind of colors I want for art. So all that you create as a DP, and then you send it to the thing, and then you're always in 7 8 WhatsApp groups constantly, which prop is nice, which prop is not good, which is good, which is not bad. And then like one day before the shoot we go and do tech recce to see
Hmm.
from where what light is coming. Like say if there's a big window, the light's coming and a light, so we can set up like say that bed where we set up, and then we think, oh, if we recreate the same light for the whole day,
Hmm.
then we can have that kind of a thing. So it all depends on like what like everything, man. Like from that point till shoot, like pre-lighting we do like spiritually for one like whole night before the shoot. My gaffer and my light team, they start pre-lighting one day before, after the art is done. So like in the morning, if there are any changes before, like I always go on time, like at least like 1 hour before, at least I try. Sometimes I miss, but yeah, so I go and then I check the lighting, and then if something is not right and if Daria doesn't like something, then we change and do stuff. But once we start rolling, it's like spiritually we're just like in one
Right.
motion, the whole team, we're just like
Like,
moving
do you
step by
surround
step.
yourself with like kind of like storyboards or like rough sketches of how the frame would be, or
See, that is everything. Yeah, see, this is where I think, yeah, we have like we nowadays we do a lot of sketches. Like we have these great artists who are like constantly giving us storyboards,
hmm.
and then we have like sketches that coming. But
Hmm.
80% of the time, I don't see sketches. Only when I don't know, oh, what is going to work well, I take
Hmm.
a sketch and see, oh, and then I visualize. Because 80% of the time, I like this is what they're also like they give me so much freedom for me to
Hmm.
express myself and how I see. And that's when, right, like this is a business of collaboration. And that's what
Hmm.
people understand now, that you need to collaborate. It's not anymore this business of hierarchy where only HODs tell you what to do or only the director tells you what to do. It's about getting all these brains together and putting together. But at the same time, right, like it's never like, oh, if there is something that we have created, it's just not coming only from me. It could be from like say someone who's doing a sketch, or it's like it could even be like say from the music band. They had
Hmm.
some references and they're great. So we're all like mostly up for collaboration, man. And which is like right now is like I just finished the shoot in Jaipur.
Hmm.
Like everything was in like sync, like we were working with like completely new team. They're like so young, they have no clue what art direction and anything was. So we had to like take people who put shamiana or like do all those wedding things. So we had to set up one kind. So we used them to make what we wanted, and it actually, like, the look of it actually came out really well.
Mm.
So I think, yeah, man, like we just like all the directors or like the producers or the people who in the team know, they're all very excited, and they're always like, we're all young, like I'm the oldest guy in the team. Can you
Yeah.
believe it? Like I am the oldest, and by a margin, my
Look, yeah,
director, the last,
looking like the youngest by a margin, but yeah.
no, by like Pranit, I just shot with. He is 26 years old, man. Like
Mm.
I can't even believe he sat in a panel of. He sat in the panel of Cannes. He is one of the guys who represented India for Cannes at the age of 26, and he's shot like 4 or 5 music videos. He's just pitched one like Netflix show and stuff, and he's
Mm.
produced multiple stuff. And he also directs. He also edits. Like all these people are like extremely talented and like really rounded people who understand filmmaking like as a whole. So that's something. And uh yeah, and now I'm actually at this point of time, I'm actually like very open for like doing new things. Like I just shot one travel video where
Mm.
I was going with the riders. Like they're like
Mm.
India's one
Mm.
of the top riders, like
Mm.
bikers, and we were traveling from Guwahati to Arunachal Pradesh, and that was a great show. That like the whole experience was something else. We were going like crazy every day. We had to wake up like at
Mm.
4 a.m. and then sleep at 12 in the night. So it was quite tiring. At the same time, that climate, everything was so cold.
Right.
So yeah, man, it's quite testing, but it's something that I wanted after the lockdown, like for me
Mm.
to like know that I'm still like I'm
You're
able to
still
do
game.
stuff and
You're still
to
game.
push
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
I can
But
still push
tell
myself.
tell me something. What defines a good cinematography, right? Like, for example, if I make you sit in a panel of Oscar awards, right? How would you decide the best cinematography award, right? What is it to you? What is the deal? What are the deal breakers for you in terms of judging? What is a good piece of cinematographic work?
And I'll be very honest with you, I'm very bad with like seeing others work. I'm
Okay.
so judgmental with my stuff. I'm so self-critical. I can't even explain. Like
Mm.
as of now, I don't think I've done like even 10% that I could do. Like I can do
Mm.
so much better in life, and I can do so much better in my
Mm.
cinematography. There's so many things and factors that like still are not coming together for me to be as good as I can be.
Mm-hmm.
So
Such
like when I
as.
see others work, right, I cannot absolutely judge others work. But
Mm.
say for example, for me, at least in my opinion, if I have to like tell myself like what is good cinematography,
Mm.
because I'll be very honest, man. Like now with the kind of equipments we have, with the kind of lights we have, with the kind of actors who are constantly like taking care of their looks, who are
Mm.
constantly working on like their good angles, bad angles and stuff, it's very hard to make bad looking footage. I'll be
Mm.
very honest with you. Like the kind of equipment, the kind of technology we have, and the kind of like understanding of like all the techniques, like everyone has everything, like all everyone has knowledge of everything, like everybody knows everything in the industry. So it's really hard to make bad stuff unless you are like really cringy person and you have like a bad taste and stuff.
Mm.
But for me, good cinematography is like, see, that's what, if you see all Oscar nominated films, all of them look so good. That is one thing in
Mm.
common. You see every film, it looks really good. But this is where so many people get lost in the sense that like they want to make it look good, look good, look good, and do new stuff, but they forget that like the films like films like Fargo and all, they look so great, but the soul of the film is not looking good. It's
Mm.
because the setup, and it's because of the story. It's because of like everything comes together so perfectly, right? It's a great blend. If you see, uh, like if you see some of like basic films, man, I'll tell you films like, I don't know
What
if
were
you
your favorite works? Like, just if you can give an example, what really influenced you?
man, like see, I'll tell you honestly,
Hmm.
you have watched like 95 to 96% more movies than I would have ever watched, because I don't watch too many films. This is something
Okay.
that you need to know. Like I
Hmm.
don't watch too many films, but like
Or
out of
tell me the names of your favorite cinematographers, for example, who have influenced you. India, abroad, You name it.
That's what, like I'm saying, like I like a lot of them, but like say we've grown up. Like, see, when I was young, I wasn't like in too much, like I wasn't watching too many English films as such, you know.
Hmm.
So for
Yeah.
me, the beginning was all Mani Ratnam's films with like Santosh Sivan, or like people like doing those like amazing wide angle shots and stuff. And I always used to think like he's telling a story like using colors, he's telling a
Hmm.
story using frames, he's telling. So with Mani Ratnam, I always like because he's a round, like I felt, you know, like he's a all-round filmmaker in the sense that he takes care of sound so well, he takes care of like visuals so well.
Hmm.
So I used to like Santosh Sivan or people like that a lot. Like also there are a lot of people, I'm so bad with names, man, and
Right. Right.
absolutely.
Right.
So like someone
I don't know.
what's his name?
Do you ever get a chance to watch the films that come out of Kerala, for example? I think they are wonderfully
Yeah,
shot.
they
Yes.
are outstanding. So
Yeah.
my, like, see, I'll be very honest to you. Like I said, the minimum number of films that I watch, like
Hmm.
they all come from like either Kerala, like a Malayalam film, or like say I'll watch something like which is completely not so commercial. Like I
Hmm.
watch a lot of indie films. Like I'll tell you, if you know Rima Das, I
Hmm.
watched both of her films. They are genius, like Village Rock Stars, or like
Hmm.
there's one more film called. Bulbul Can Sing. So all
Right.
these films, right? She shot it, she wrote it, she did everything. She did editing, she did every single thing on the film. But
Hmm.
if you watch those films, it's on Netflix. Like you know that emotion is filmmaking, man. Like that
Hmm.
emotion of like, and also what Rima does great is like she imbibes our social like status, like right now whatever the social what do you call it, the current status of the
Yeah.
country or the current
Right.
status of the place, she
Hmm.
imbibes it so well and so subtly, right? Like she doesn't do it like, "Oh, okay, in your face, let me show you
Hmm.
like what's
Hmm.
happening here." It's all
Hmm.
coming like in a part and parcel of the like the location itself or the place itself. And it's a life, man. Like that kind of filmmaking is amazing. Like I
Right.
quite dig. Like, and also like say for example we saw like 2 3 amazing films, and they're like absolutely like so underdog. All of them are like film festival films,
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
but
Hmm.
they don't get like too much of like what do you call it, like too much of attention or anything.
Right.
But
Right.
I love those films, man. These are, and especially Malayalam film. Like I think
Like.
Malayalam film
I,
industry is the most sought out because they take care of story so perfectly. Like they understood, man. Like the soul of anything is about story and like how you
hmm.
narrate it. And
And I may I suggest you watch. I don't know. You must have watched it. Lijo Jose Pelliceri's movies, right? Jallikattu, um,
Jallikattu. So of course.
yeah,
So yeah.
Jallikattu,
So see,
Angamali
this is the thing,
Diaries.
man. I don't remember any of the names. Like
Right,
at this
right, right.
moment, you ask me, I don't remember. I've seen all the films what you're saying, and I
Have
know like
have you seen that trailer of Churuli by any chance?
no, no,
Lijo,
no, no.
that guy is just mad. His the atmosphere in his movies, the sound, the image, it's just he's mad. But tell me something. What is your style? What is your signature? Right? For example, what can we look for in an Aditya Varma's short video or a film, and immediately tell that, okay, yep, this is Aditya Varma's work, right? Everyone has their own stamp, right? For example, like, you know, Spielberg's a cinematographer, Janus, right? So when you look at his work, what are the standard things in his movie? Lot of haze, lot of glaze, lots of backlight, right? Very bright backlight and so on, right? These are his signature kind of clues, right? What is your signature clues that we're looking for in your work whenever we watch your work?
Man, I haven't done much of work as of now. I feel, you know, like I've just started like
Mm,
shooting. I've just started making
mm,
stuff.
mm,
So I'm still like trying to find my own language in like
mm,
filmmaking. I'm still trying to find out like what is my signature style or whatever.
mm,
But I also try and always try and be like away from, you know, like being stereotypical in like saying, oh, okay, this is my style, I'm going to stick to it, I'm only going to do this for like all the projects.
mm,
So that's something that I don't think in this era, especially like people like me at this point who are budding right now, they can't be so rigid. And I know few cinematographers who are like that, and they don't like. This is something, man, we need to understand at this point. At least you need to explore, and you need to keep exploring, and you need to keep doing new stuff.
Right.
Otherwise you will, like, at least at this era, man, because there is so much content being made. All the people you've mentioned, right, they're
Yeah.
all great, right? Like they're all amazing, but
Mm.
they have a set of people who will go to watch their films, and they've created
Right.
this kind of an audience. People will go and watch. But for us, we are too early for us to like say, oh, to be rigid and say, oh, this is my style, I'm going to stick to it, this is my
Mm.
style. But
Mm.
something I always strive for, and like this is my forever, not now, right? Like this will be my forever goal, is to like have a great blend of like technically sound frame,
Mm.
with like perfect lighting for the situation. Like say for example, if you are on the 43rd page of the script, and like third line, fourth line of the script,
Mm.
it needs to fit perfect only for that. And
Mm.
it has to do nothing about like how good it is lit, how well it is
Mm.
lit.
Mm.
It has to do nothing about, oh, what a great frame, what great colors. It has to be a perfect blend, man, and that will be my only goal from now on. Okay, so for
Mm.
this I want to like come fresh and say, because see, this is also for me, like say for example, why I'm seeing this, right, like at this point.
Right.
uh,
Yeah. Keep talking. No problem.
so at this point, like why I say this, right, like because I know,
Mm.
man, like I have not come from like say something like a film school where I can be rigid and say, oh, I know this technique, I'm gonna use it and it is going to work in everything.
Right.
Because I have to go to every project like, oh, this is my first project and I need to do it like spiritually and spend all my energy into just making that particular film. And
Mm.
that's what I do, man. I never do two three things at once. If I'm
Mm-mm-mm.
shooting a
Yeah.
music video also, it's only that I'm shooting.
Right.
So
And do you try to add meaning to your framing or lighting or color palette and so on? Like for example, if I take a look at this particular thumbnail here of Cold Mess, right? So what does that frame indicate? Does that frame indicate that the relationship of these two characters are like kind of cornered in their own mind?
yes,
Is that
and
is
also a space.
it
Yes,
it?
like the kind of, like no matter how close they both are, right? See, this
Mm,
is what, like, see, of course, man, of course, as a cinematographer, in your head, you have to keep thinking and framing for the mood of it, right? Like, if
mm,
that frame, if I actually like framed perfectly like a two shot,
yeah.
it wouldn't have made any sense, or like it wouldn't have been epic, like, right? It
Mm,
wouldn't have been like, it wouldn't have been like, what
mm,
do you call it? Like, iconic. It is iconic because it has, like, I had thought in my mind and I framed it in such a way, right? And
right.
also there's so much in that frame. In that frame alone, I can like post read it, right? Like I can read it like
Mm,
a script and say, oh, okay, this. But at the time when we were shooting, we literally had like say 7 minutes to take that shot,
mm,
and they're in middle of like Bombay, like really like messy Bombay, where gym is
mm,
like quite known. Everybody would like just
mm,
come to gym and be like cover him up and stuff. So we
mm,
wouldn't have shot after like 7 minutes.
mm,
So we had to do it really quick. So I had to take one of my assistants, frame them, and see, oh, how will I frame? How will I do? And it's a film camera. Man, there's
mm,
so many things that goes internally, right? And
right.
that's why you need to always keep your mind like for the job, man. Like if I have everything, if I'm thinking only about the job, and if I am living for the job, I
Mm,
can give everything to it. And in the like internally and subconscious level, like there's so many things you'll do without even knowing. And
mm,
later you can go, like there'll be 100 people who can describe 100 things about the frame. There'll
right.
be 100 people who will say, oh, this because of this. But my
Mm,
thing is, when I am shooting, what I was thinking was much more internal than how filmmakers make it to be like, oh, I thought about it, oh, I knew
mm,
exactly what I was
mm,
going to do, and I knew. And this is so much of romanticizing, right? Like because
mm,
every art form like only survives because of romanticizing. If you think of it, any film, like say for example, if like all the stories, right, they're all so cheesy. If someone says, oh, like whatever, they come and narrate a story, if they don't romanticize it, or if they don't feel it, right,
yeah.
it's impossible to make any story,
Mm,
anything. So as artists and filmmakers, we need to romanticize, fantasize, and like accept. Like sometimes you listen to like the most stupidest love story and you're
Mm,
like, what the hell is happening? But you need to be like you need to be at that level where you need to understand, yeah, we need to
mm,
romanticize to a level. That's when we can create art. Otherwise, that's why being empathetic is the key, man, for whatever job you're doing.
mm.
Like you can be cinematographer, you can be art director, you can be costume. You need to be so empathetic for the for the script and understand what you're
Mm.
doing, man. That's
and
everything.
and and is that your happiest moment when people recognize the little details, the little nuances that you're
Yes,
trying to do, right? For
yes,
example,
man.
for
I
example
think this,
for example, right, I
yes,
just I see your choices of color, right? Because if the characters are in some sort of a conflict, you use some gloomy color palette. If they're happy, you make it bright. If they are not sure, you make it green. All these little minute details. So how often do those details get attention in your work?
again, I think it's coming together subconsciously. Like so
Mm,
many people like say Sage, or like so many people like Cold Mess, but they don't know like internally how much we put in, like what clothes Jim will be wearing where.
yeah.
Because uh, like you wouldn't believe, like I was doing costumes also for like Cold Mess. Like I was doing
Mm,
like clothes also. I went to Jim's place and picked all the clothes that I wanted for what scene, and then I went to Zoya's place and picked up all the clothes. And I was constantly doing like most of the stuff. And also I did color grading, I did editing for the thing. So it's
yeah.
like, I am constantly working in developing like like these two people, and it's exactly what Daria had in her mind also, right? Like Daria is like you won't believe, man, like everything what I'm saying, no, it comes out like I am doing it. It's
Mm,
basically Daria is making me do stuff and Dheer is
mm,
making me do stuff. So this is where like the collaboration, the power of collaboration comes, man. And
mm,
I think these minute things, no, I don't mind if people don't point out at me and say, oh, you did that great or anything. Like
mm,
rather I would like overall feeling, if you see like Malayalam films and all, like the amount of grace they use, the amount of earthy tones they use, how much they add to the environment where they are, is just phenomenal, man. It's just like insane. And they don't light up, like put too much light.
right,
They're never doing like, oh, okay, let's get all the light in the world and put it on the actors. They make it like they make sure that the texture is not lost.
right.
And you never go back and say, like, you don't go watch a film and say, oh, I love that frame. But instead you should just say, man, what a film,
Mm, mm,
and I think some people definitely pick it up, like say some critics, they definitely come up and like they try to break it down and do it. And in some interviews I just spill it out and tell people like this is what we did and stuff.
right.
But I really don't mind keeping it like as internal as possible, and just like
Yeah, I mean,
80% of the time when I'm
what's the fun in revealing the magic trick? Just let magic be magic.
exactly. And 80% of the time, I still remember, like for some projects, I just send the color palette
Mm,
and they are just saying yes, but they don't know what is the significance and why ever you chosen that for what. So I let it be like that also. Like some people in the team also don't know why we are doing this. They just
mm.
tell the. So that's like sometimes we don't even like talk. Like most of the times, Daria doesn't even come check frame. She just like focusing on the acting and the
Mm.
those other parts and stuff. Yeah.
Right. Can you talk about Sage? Because the challenge is like, filming a very, very tall guy and a short girl, and how much planning did you modify the set itself to, to fit your requirements, or what was that like?
See, I'll tell you, Sage, like whatever problems you thought I was facing, we were
Mm,
facing 10,000 million other problems. We had to make
mm,
our office the set,
mm, 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 mm,
literally. And then, like all the, like the lucky thing was the casting was on point, right? Like the guy
mm,
is actually that tall. Like he's huge,
mm,
And for me, like no matter what we were doing, right? Like the set, what we created, it
mm,
was so easy for us because this guy already created, like made everything look so small. He made
mm,
everything look absolutely what they were. Like
mm,
literally,
mm,
that's I think the whole soul of the film also, right? Like our we saw the office, we were like, see, because we did not have budgets for
mm, mm,
like huge places where we could go and all, because that was our second music video where now we can ask for what we want and then we can get stuff, right? That
Hmm.
was our first breakthrough also, like second breakthrough, one of the, because by then I don't think like Cold Mess also was caught up, I don't know what the
Mm-mm-mm.
scene was. So we're still like that kind of a production house where we are doing jugaad, like literally we're
Right.
doing jugaad at everything. So we
Right.
took our office and we saw the ceiling, and Daria was like, let's just do it here. And then we started painting green walls, we started painting yellow in one room, and then it's literally we started shooting stuff, and then we went out and we found out other clubs and where all we can shoot, and then the theater and all that.
Mm.
So for us, luck, like the luck was Aisha, one, she was quite short, and
Mm.
him, he was quite tall. But
Mm.
for me, the study was to how to show that difference of like tall and short,
Mm.
and that was like using like really wide angle lenses, and then like trying to like distort the difference between them more and more so that they look actually quite different physically, but not like in the emotional sense of
Right. And
like that.
and you being a fashion photographer, and then most of your cinematography work is usually indoors, right? So Namdev Bhau must have been a complete change, right? In terms of your imagination, your it must have been a challenge for you to like frame like these huge Ladakh landscapes and so on, right? So for me, like Namdev Bhau, it gives me, it's like a mix of the movie of Court. It has that court feel to it. It has a bit of lunchbox feel to it, and then it has a feel of the movie Up, which is actually an animation movie, but the character of that old guy with the
Up
young
was
guy.
one of our major references also.
Right,
Like if
and
you
yeah,
look
it's
at
just
it.
this mix of references in that movie, and for you, it must have been a complete 180 degree, if that's a safe thing to say in terms of your record of work and what you had to do for Namde Bhau.
See, actually not. I'll tell you. See, for Namdev Bhau, we were supposed to shoot in Spiti Valley. One of our
Hmm.
LPs already did a complete like breakdown of where we'll shoot, how we'll shoot. Like this is where we'll eat, this is where we'll stay and stuff. So he's
Hmm.
done everything, and then I go to Ladakh to do my fashion film like project that I was doing, and then
Hmm.
I see Ladakh, and then we're traveling. Okay, we're doing recce, and then I go like to like say 10 15 kilometers away and I see this
Hmm.
beautiful lake, and then I go another 10 kilometers and I see like these huge black mountains, like huge hills and everything, and then I go a
Hmm.
little ahead, I see Hundar sands, which is like white sands, and I was like, this would be a perfect setup, because if you go to Spiti, it'll
Hmm.
be like one tone, like single tone place. Okay, you'll get that kind of a feel where, oh, it's an indie project, you know
Hmm.
that there are suffering and trying to go to this silent valley and stuff. But then I knew it would be much more easier for me to create that kind of like magnum opus like
Right.
image with like different, like, because it's a travel film, right? You want to create the different kinds of things while they're passing from one place to another. And then
Hmm.
it also gave me a lot of flexibility in terms of like where I could shoot what. Like say we went to choose the monastery, we had like 7 options for monasteries, so
Hmm.
like for us it was easy. But in Spiti we were stuck with like one monastery, so all that I went there and I called my team and I said, like, guys, let's do in Ladakh. And then Daria was fully tripped out. She was
Hmm.
like, no chance we'll do anything in, and everybody's shot in Ladakh, everybody's shot in this, so it's all going to look like these Salman Khan films which have been shot
Mm-mm-mm.
in Ladakh. And I
Three
was
Idiots.
like, just trust me, it's
Hmm.
not going to look like that. Trust me,
Hmm.
and we are going to get like, because there is a completely different side of Ladakh nobody has captured. Like it's so subtle. People are so like so mellow, and
Hmm.
that's the side I wanted to also like get out of Ladakh. Like coming to your question, like how like for me, like even if you see my old fashion works or whatever,
Mm-mm.
no,
Hmm.
I always used to prefer shooting outdoor.
Hmm.
So because I'll tell you, I'll be very honest, I love shooting in sunlight, like natural light.
Hmm.
Like even if I'm shooting an indoor shoot, I always prefer to shoot with like window light.
Hmm.
So for me, the magic always used to happen from sunlight.
Right.
So I always loved shooting like golden hour or like completely like early in the morning,
Hmm.
that kind of a thing. So I think Namdeva, in a sense, I also wanted to have some cushion because I didn't know much about lighting.
Mm-mm-mm.
Video lighting is completely different to like photography, right? So it's not like it's not like, oh, we're just lighting up for one
Yeah.
frame and then
Yeah.
like they're going to stay.
Yeah.
It's going to be a long frame. You
Dynamic.
need to
Yeah.
move with the characters. There has to be some kind of. So
Mm.
for me, like that was actually a great start, where I use natural light, which I am
Mm.
good at. And also I knew if I do natural light, I know exactly what time I have to take them for what kind of a mood or what kind of a
Mm.
setup. And I can actually create whatever mood with the available. And we literally had one skimmer
Right.
throughout the shoot, only
Mm.
one 8x8 skimmer, and that's all we had. And we shot everything on natural light 100%.
I don't
And that's
know.
something.
Yeah. What will happen if someone throws at you a challenge of a single shot, like like Alejandro Inarritu shots, or Alfonso Cuarón's kind of shots, or even that opening shot of Gangs of Wasseypur, which is a freaking long shot, right? Like, what would be the struggle in shooting something like that? Right? Do you have to like move the entire lighting equipment with you, or how does that work? Have you ever done anything like that?
Yes, I think, see, the kind of like the music videos or like King's
Mm,
Cold Mess or everything that you're seeing, right? You're all seeing 1 second of it,
mm, 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 mm.
We've shot 1 minute of a shot. We
Right.
would have shot like, seven, like even like Namdeva, we have tracking of like good 8 to 9 minutes because it's
Mm, yeah, yeah,
outdoor. But like coming to your point, see, it's not about like this is where pre-lighting you do. Like say for
yeah.
example in Liggi, right? We
Mm,
didn't change lighting at all. We set up lighting one day before, and
mm,
we set up the whole ceiling was filled with lights, and then we set it up completely. So we
mm,
had to move the actor or actress wherever she was going, and then she was free to move. So
mm,
we created it in such a way that it was three-dimensional, but at the same time she was free to move.
mm,
So all these single shot films, what you're talking about, there are times when they do complete pre-lighting. Like say for
mm,
example, this in Birdman, say like there is one complete like single shot where he's like walking. That's a complete pre-lit
right.
location. They have
Exactly.
set everything, and they would have rehearsed it for like, I don't know, 7-8 days or whatever,
Mm,
and then they would have shot. So these are some things that that's like, I don't think it's anymore a challenge, because in Kian Cosmos is where I was fighting it. I
mm,
had like one of the best gaffers. Like how Namdeba was 100% natural lighting, Kian Cosmos like 80% was like completely studio lighting and like
right.
recreated light. So that's something that we had to like face. And then it's literally comes down to this, man. No matter if you've gone for like film school or you didn't go for film school,
Right.
it comes down to your taste, like what you see
Mm,
on the camera. Do you think you like it? Then you have hundreds of people in your set to help you get your image, like you
mm,
go to your gaffer, you go to your AC, you tell him, no, I'm not liking it, I want light from there, I want this. Like you see, because I didn't even know the names of lights, right, when I was shooting
mm.
Kian Cosmos. So I learned in the job. Like I said, on the job I had to like know, oh,
Wow.
that's a baby, that's this, that's that skimmer. So everything I had to learn in the job. So now I understand like what this light does, what that light does.
And from Kion Cosmos, from Namdev Bhav, you came down to Kion Cosmos, which is where you're shooting in tight spaces. That must have been a massive change, right, in terms of your thinking, right?
Yes.
And you must, and whatever outdoor shots you shot, I think that must have been in some harsh sunlight, right in the middle of the afternoon or something like that, right?
Yes.
Tell me about that, and how did you go about that particular film? Because I'm very envious with the fact that you worked with this actress, right, who was in Patal Lok eventually, Swastika
Oh yeah.
Mukherjee, right?
She's amazing. She's a
Oh
great
yeah.
actor, yeah. And I think she's only like, we are actually planning to do another project together with the same director and the
Wow.
actress. So let's hope we do it well. But
Amen.
it's it's going to be good, man. Like I think, see, again, man, like how Namdeva was like one complete spiritual journey of like all of
Mm,
us doing.
mm,
Even Kia and Cosmos was a long period, man, because Kia and Cosmos had a lot of budget issues, a lot
mm,
of problems of shoot being like stalled completely for like good 20 days, 30 days. We are in
mm.
Kolkata doing nothing. We're just waiting for the shoot to restart. So
Wow.
there were times we only used to think, man, like shoot, let the shoot just be over, like
Yeah.
let us just finish the shoot at least,
Those days come.
so
Yeah.
there are times where we like we knew, man, like we had to like get things done, and then like no matter how much compromise we do, we'll try and get the like soul of the film as much as possible.
Mm,
And that's something we kept intact. But at the same time, my director, man, he had full trust in me. He was completely like, he's a crazy man.
mm,
Like he, like no matter what you throw at him, no matter what problem you throw at him,
mm.
he'll still shoot. He'll still come up with some kind of a solution to just like go at it and keep doing stuff. But that's what, man, like say for example, the kind of journey that we had to go through, right? So many problems and everything. We still today we feel like, man, it got a release, and it also did great in all film
Mm.
festivals. Like it went on Netflix. For us, that's like a great achievement. Like we can just like share this for like for lives. So yeah.
Right. Well, what was your most challenging work in terms of cinematography, right? Like where you looked at the script and you went like, oh, how am I gonna do this, right? Or you're always like, yep, let's see how we can do this. What was the most challenging work in terms of like which really
Man,
gave you?
every job, I'll be
Mm,
very honest with you. Like for me, every job is so challenging. Like I
mm,
said, because I don't know. Like I don't know, even today, right? Like
mm,
tomorrow, even if I have to shoot like a small documentary thing,
mm, mm,
I
mm,
will still be like nervous till the moment I shoot, because I have to figure out step by step, building art, building costume, building, getting actors right, and then getting shots right, and everything building in the paper, on the paper, and then go
mm,
there and shoot. So for me, every shoot is like, initially me and Dar, we are just tripping all the time. Like we are
mm.
like, we don't even talk. We're just like in the car. We're just like, don't know what to do. How will we do? We have no clue. But when we go there and we start like shooting, and then we figure out step by step, step by step. But
Right.
most challenging as of now was, uh, man, Kian Cosmos, I should say, because like I said, man, we just like, there were times, like,
Mm,
uh, it was like so difficult to even go for the day of the shoot, and we still would manage, wake up like really early. It was really difficult, man. It was like one of the toughest shoots. Like
right.
I don't think I'll ever have to do it again in
Mm,
life. It
right.
was very difficult in terms of like what we thought we'll have to achieve, and with the kind of budgets we had, because initially whatever like producers were, they all backed off. Like we didn't know what to do about it, so we're just like waiting for producers to come on board.
Yeah.
But all the everyone in the team, like they all stuck together, and the most important was Ritika, the lead.
Yes.
She was so inspiring in the set. Like I can't even tell you,
Mm.
she used to act so well, because she's
Great acting.
completely a different personality. And
Great
on the
acting.
camera, when we see her, like there are times when I'm crying and shooting, bro. Like
Mm,
literally I'm crying and shooting, my camera is shaking. So she would inspire us to go like one more day, one more day, one more day. So I think like that kind of an inspiration like drives us like really hard, man. And I think toughest was like Kian Cosmos. But
mm,
I think Cold Mess was something that we were trying to can completely, me and
mm,
Dar, and we
mm,
like, for like there was one schedule where we said, you know what, we are not ready, we don't want to shoot Cold Mess.
mm,
And Dheer called us. He said, guys, listen to me. You guys stop worrying. You guys are thinking too much, because we didn't know that we could do Cold Mess
mm,
at that
mm,
time, because we were
mm,
shooting on 16 film, and our actors, like whatever we were seeing, we were not sure about the actors. We're like, I don't think they'll be able to pull this off, because if they
mm,
don't perform well, we got nothing. So me and Dar, we were like, like let's not do it, let's not do it. And luckily Jim fell sick, and we had to
mm,
postpone the shoot for like 15 days. And in the meantime, we got so much time to do the prep. We got so much time to do permissions. We got so much time to do like clothes, everything. And then Dheer said, guys, Dheer initially said, you know what, don't do it. Let's
mm.
not do it. Why to press? And then he comes to the point, like, if you both decide today, we can do it, bro. We can do it. And then we did like, we we thank Dheer for that all the time.
Wonderful. Who is your dream director to work with in terms global or India? Someone who will fit with your style of filming in the sense.
Man, as of now, I don't have any like out of my mind, but probably, man, I don't know, man. I
Hmm.
wouldn't like, see, I wouldn't know, right? Like, because you can say, oh, Christopher Nolan right now, but like you go to the set and you don't feel like, oh shit, like it's nothing about
I don't know.
what I thought, because uh man, like I like the bigger and bigger the project becomes, like say for example, the more number of people come in,
Mm.
the more number of creative people come in the project, it
Mm-hmm.
is very less of your product. Like say for
Right.
example, yeah, like say as a cinematographer you can only do this much, right? Like, and if a team, the entire team is only seeing you as a cinematographer, I don't think you'll be able to give so much also to the project, you know.
Mm.
And that's where I think if I want to grow, I want to grow with our team. Like say for example, like someone like
Mm.
Sudeep, who's I'm shot with Kia and Cosmos, or with like Dhirandar, where I create like something with them, because here I have a say and I know whatever I want to create, I can grow with them, and they understand my vision.
Mm.
So I think, yeah, man, I think my dream team would be the team that I am in right now, you know.
Right. And in my
They,
opinion, I think you would totally fit in a Chaitanya Tamane's movie, right? The guy who made the court, right?
yeah, I
That,
love like
yeah, that very well might have been shot by you. It looks so uncannily similar. May not be in terms of its color palettes, but in terms of its just
no, man.
framing,
Honestly, I
framing
see.
and
Honestly, I
pacing
love
and
that film, and I
mm,
love the cinematography of the film. And like it
mm,
would have been great working with Chaitanya Taman for sure. But I don't want to like take any respect out of the guy who already did it, right?
yeah,
Like he did
yeah.
amazing, you know.
I'm
He
just
just did
mm,
perfect job. Yeah,
right. I'm just
like
trying to
that's
connect
what
like
like
your style and the director that will like go with your style. I mean, I don't know if you have seen his other short film about Darjeeling tea plantation by any
dude,
chance.
that's one of my favorite. That's
Ooh,
one of my favorite films all time. Like the old lady's voice, the close-up, the texture of like how she's taking the sip. Oh my god, it's one of my favorite short films ever. And I can't believe you watched it though. I don't know how you got the links and all,
I
because I
like
had to see.
it. It's on Vimeo, I guess. I don't know
Yeah,
if
it was on
any.
Vimeo and it was on his personal thing. Yeah.
Yeah. I no, I because when I was going through his because I have this weird habit when I watch a movie, I totally read about it after watching a movie, right? His Wikipedia page, the director's Wikipedia page, the actors, everything. And I was reading his Wikipedia page and I
Amazing.
found this short film, and I'm like, okay, let's watch the short film. I was blown away. Can you believe it? That guy made that short film at the age of 24, 25. It's mad. It's mental,
Exactly.
right? So
See, I think one of my really good friends, like Shraddha, she actually shared it to me. I was like blown away, dude. What am I doing in life? I still remember it was like
yeah.
way before Namdeva or anything. And I was like, what a guy, man. Amazing. But that's what, no, like say you, how you are connecting, it's like Chaitanya, like guy,
Mm,
and then me, like they have to look into a cinematographer
mm,
and say, oh, he will fit
mm,
like
mm,
what I
mm,
want to shoot, right? Like
mm.
that's how we bring in this collaboration. I think that's where, man, it takes time to get like really
Mhm,
right people to
mhm.
like,
And one
yeah,
more director
do.
that will totally fit with your style is this guy called Denis Villeneuve, or what's his name? The guy who made the Sicario, Prisoners, Arrival, Blade Runner
Oh,
2. Do you know that guy?
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Have you seen his
yeah, yeah,
movies?
yeah, he's amazing, dude, of course.
And I
Of
think
course, bro. I
if he works with you, it fits. That is one more imagination that I have in my
Man,
mind.
that's huge. That's huge, dude. Like honestly, you're saying some amazing stuff, man. I can't even
Yeah,
thank you enough.
no problem.
That's
Yeah,
great.
it's like, yeah, obviously, like you won't fit with Spielberg's per se because his style is different. But I just have these few things, like having watched your work all these years, right? I just have this few names that kind of stuck to my mind, which will suit your style of work. But tell me something. When did you realize? I mean, I've been talking so much about filmmaking all this time, and I'm feeling so pumped up to go out there myself and make something. But I want to take a break from that and just ask you, when did you feel that you wanted to do this, right? When did you figure this out, right? When did you figure, like, 9 to 5 is not my thing? Was it always like this in the school? When was your breakthrough, like kind of Buddha under the tree moment?
I never had a Buddha tree moment, but for sure, definitely, I knew, man. I always like one thing. It'll be really sad to say. I always knew that I would be a filmmaker. No, I
Mm,
wouldn't know, but I always knew that I didn't want to do a 9 to 5 job, because
mm,
I got like selected in like Infosys. I got selected in like from my college.
mm.
I was college topper. Like you guys don't know one more thing about me is that I became really studious when I went to college, and I
Wow.
was college topper. So I like when I went
Shoot.
to college, I got like Infosys, and I got one more company. which
Mm.
like they wanted to take me as an accountant, which
Mm.
I said no to directly. And
Mm.
then I wanted to pursue something more because I knew I wasn't made for it. I was
Mm.
like, it's very wrong to say I wasn't made for it. It's just that I won't do well, man. I'll be
Mm.
like a really bad accountant sitting and doing the same job every day,
Mm.
because I wouldn't like, even there I would have put some more creativity and did something, but I would definitely like not fit that well.
Mm.
But man, I think during that time, after my degree, I was doing post grad in Delhi, and that's where I met like these amazing artists like name Kshitij and Niharika. Kshitij is like was the first photographer I met in Delhi who passed away, who died,
Mm.
and then he died in an accident at the age of 20. Imagine, he was 20 when he passed away, and I met
Mm.
Niharika, and they were few friends of mine, and then I used to look up to them, and I learned more photography, filmmaking. And then there was this thing called IBBO. I don't know if you know. So
Right.
they called me and asked me like if I want to take a modeling contract and stuff, and then I went on modeling.
Mm.
And then from there, but nowhere I was stopping there and just checking on myself and saying, oh, am I doing right thing, or am I
Mm.
going in the right path or anything? Never. Because I always knew, like like in the end I want to make films, but whatever way I take,
Mm.
whatever path I take. But thanks to Dhiran Daria, whom I met in Bombay, was like a real moment where I knew that I could do cinematography and do well,
Mm.
and I could apply and do things. Yes.
And it's just surreal to me because you come from the hometown that I come from, Tirupati, which was not really a big town back then, apart from the pilgrimage fame that it had. How did you even get exposure to all the art that inspired you, the cinema that inspired you? And it's just, you should have a circle, right? Because luckily, because I had a very film geeky circle, right? That circle was the reason why I ended up watching all these movies that really captured my imagination,
Yes.
right? Who or what taught you to dream big, coming from that little town that we come from, in that sense, right? So because it's just surreal, right? You went from KV to Delhi to Bombay. Now you're filming with Ritviz, and you're filming with Swastika Mukherjee. From there to there, right? Something must have influenced your wiring in your head, right? What was that? Who taught you to
See,
dream big?
like you said, it was so important to have that kind of people, right? Like, and also,
Mm.
man, I'll be very honest, I'm over ambitious. Even today, when you're taking these names, like Ritviz, and like for
Mm.
me, that's not the like end thing, because I'm still today, I'm quite ambitious. I've just started up. I know
Mm.
where I want to, and I'm not even like 10 to 15% of where I want to be.
Wow.
So I'm just saying, like, say for example, at the moment where at the time where you had people who were watching films. I remember your friends used to watch films, and then you used to talk
Mm.
about films. You were one of those people. I did not have anyone, like
Mm.
literally my best friends were Chandan and all these people, like Chandan, my
Right.
boss, or my,
Yeah.
like, they were kids, who used. So for me it was all like, I was quite I loved fashion. I don't know how
Mm.
to put it. I loved fashion, and like that was something that I was so interested in, and I wasn't sharing it with like a lot of people,
Mm.
because I did not know how to put it across. Because if I tell people that I want to be a fashion photographer being in Tirupati, people will not even understand. They're like, "Oh, you're going to open a studio, like a corner studio where you click pictures with like and stuff." They wouldn't even understand. So I used to see, I don't know if you know this, there's this website called lookbook.nu.
Mm.
So I used to make friends with like friends not from our place, right? Like I used to make friends from
Wow. So
Delhi,
this was your
Bombay,
old boomer Facebook, huh? Because in my generation, at
Orkut.
least at least there was Facebook, Orkut, and at least we had friends. At least we had cameras, right? In my generation, like Setu, right? Setu, my friend photographer. At least
Yeah.
I have seen DSLRs in my college life, right? I never knew there is this thing called DSLR existed in my school life, right? It must you're much elder than me. I'm not trying to make you
No,
sound
no.
old, but you're just much elder than me. You must have not seen anything. I mean, I wonder if you had internet, for example. I'm just joking, but
Exactly. So my
you know what I
internet,
mean?
this is what I was going to tell you.
Hmm.
So I remember, like, I love photography, right? But I
Hmm.
didn't know how to tell my parents that I like photography.
Hmm.
So I can't like explain them, like say, oh, I like photography. So there was this book called Better Photography. If you know,
Hmm.
have you? Heard
Okay.
of it? Like now
No.
I don't even look up to it anymore.
Right.
Like it was better photography, and I only used to get a copy in Chennai, not even in
Mm.
Tirupati. So I
Mm.
used to take one book and see it for like hours together. Like each photo I used to
Yeah,
see, and I
we are talking about 2005, 2004, right?
2003,
2003, right?
2004.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
2003. And people should remember the desperate lack of information, right? Right now, we are so spoiled. Oh my God. Talk about being spoiled right now with information, right? Back then, I mean, for my only window to the world was like newspaper, TV, that's it. I don't know about anything else.
yeah, man. It was quite difficult for me also because like people used to merge like or mix fashion with porn. Back then, people used to watch FTV for
Fashion.
like like porn.
Yes.
You know what I mean. But
Yes.
and then I used to go through these websites, and then when people were like at my place, I think we bought computer the first, like in our whole colony we had the first computer in our colony when I was in like
Wow.
class 6. And then that I
Shoot.
still remember I had Adobe Photoshop 2.0 pirated version, which I used to like change backgrounds of
No
photos that
way.
I used to click. Like I
Wow.
used to take people's cameras because I did not have a camera. I used to like take camera from one of my friends. His name is Dinesh or something. I used to take his camera and I used to click pictures,
Mm.
change the backgrounds, do Photoshop, all that. And then I used to check these websites called lookbook.nu and 120
Mm.
kbps per second. Like imagine the speed.
BSNL.
128 kb. And I used to wait like 20 minutes to just see one photo. Like imagine that life.
Yeah.
And from there, and videos don't even
Oh my
think
God.
of it.
You
Yeah,
you want to watch a movie, just wait for 24 hours to download it.
yeah, man, it was very difficult for me, but that's what. No, I think I was never cutting that thread out because I still remember
Mm.
speaking to you when I was in Delhi. Like remember speaking to Setu also when I was in Delhi, and he was constantly saying, "Bro, I am going to like work for a while, and then I'll do photography because it's expensive." And I said, "You know what? Like you don't dive in like that, Setu. You need to
Mm.
dive all together." Because when I took a stance at like say 24 to
Mm.
just or like 23 to do something right from zero. Obviously it's going to be so scary, man, because what will you do at the age of 23, and then what if you fail?
Yeah.
And it took so much time. It's not like, oh, one day thing, right? Like
Mm.
24 to 34, it took 10 years for me to like even be where I am. So I
Right.
think that, yeah, I think, and that was very important time where I was persistent and I was ambitious, and I was quite ambitious, and I'm never looking up to things, right? Like say for example, whatever work I've done, I don't look up to it. I still know where I can go. And I think that's the
Wow.
only way ahead, man, for me.
And talk about some reality, right? How persistent you have to be, how consistent you have to be, how relentless you have to be. I mean, is there a
In lockdown, I I had to not do a Dharma project. In lockdown, I lost like two because I was busy with my father. My father was in that well.
right?
So I had to do so many things. Like I was like constantly, I am like rejecting things. I don't like things which are like huge, which can be like straight entry for me to like glory and stuff, and like world will know you. But I
Right.
don't want to do things like that. I want to do like I have to, even at this point, no, I can just straight sell myself and just go full power and just keep shooting like 20 projects a year, which
Mm.
will make me do earn stuff, whatever. But I
Mm.
still want to take the path where I know, man, and I've always believed in, where I know if I have to be consistent and persistent and do stuff that I believe in.
Where is that path taking you? Where do you think you want to go, right? What is your ceiling? What is your sky?
Man, I think absolutely. Like right now, I just have no clue. Like at this point, my
Mm.
only goal is I have a shoot on 11th, and I need to know, like, spend so much time on that, and then
Right.
do what all I need to do for
Mm.
preparing for it, and
Mm.
do a good job with it. Because now I'm like in February, I'm shooting with an Australian director, and then this project what I'm doing is for the director from the US, and then
Mm.
after that, whatever comes in my way. So I think I'm just like literally at this point like only focusing on doing the next job properly and
Right.
just not have a ceiling as such, because I don't know, man, if I want to like go anywhere,
Mm.
I really want to do the next project properly. That's all, because I
Right.
don't, man, lockdown has taught you this clearly. There is nothing like you can't be
Nothing.
attached to anything.
Right.
Absolutely. Because down the line, after 1.5 year, I keep telling my friends that maybe I don't want to do cinematography anymore. I want to like just explore, man, and see travel and stuff.
Wow.
Because now I have backup, right? Like I can just
Mm.
like carry my small camera.
Mm.
I just bought this camera and then just keep shooting travel images, and I can sell images, man, now. So I don't have to like also do something like the world thinks is the correct thing to do. Because
Right.
I never did that, and I don't want to do.
Don't you want to be a director or a filmmaker, make a movie of your
I
own?
really don't mind, but I don't want to be a director in the sense that, oh, I want to shoot for the theaters or
Mm.
whatever shape it takes. I'll shoot it for myself and then see what it takes, like where it goes. Like in the lockdown, I made couple of really nice pieces, like with the
Mm.
help of Ritika Pal's writing and my voiceover and everything. I did like this thing called bird watching, and then I did this like
Yeah,
there's
yeah,
a
yeah.
really small 3 minute pieces which I really love, and I don't mind just going in that path and making something big. And I have one script which I shouldn't say, but I'm working on. Let's see, man. And it's a
Wow.
long term thing. Yeah.
Brother, here's the thing, right? I can just go on and on about this podcast, but I just leave it to the listeners and the audience to explore more about you, more about your work. Your work is on YouTube, Instagram, all over the place, all over the place. IMDb, you Google it, you'll get it. Here's the thing, folks. Aditya Verma, right? Can you, before I let you go, brother, can you tell very quickly about your social media presence, your Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, Aditya Verma, right? IMDb,
Aditya
Aditya
Verma
Verma.
Arts on Instagram and Twitter and
Hmm.
Facebook, Aditya Verma Arts, and on YouTube, Aditya Verma with VARMA. Aditya Verma VARMA.
And a verified channel. Is that verified?
It's,
I think
no,
it's
no, it's
verified.
not verified.
It's not
I just
verified, is
have
it?
23K subs.
Yeah, just 23K subscribers. That's
Dude, are you mad? I know people who have millions of subscribers for no
yeah.
reason.
I mean, everyone looks up to someone that's above them. That's pretty natural. But folks, what a fascinating guy! What a fascinating journey! There's more to his journey. I'm pretty sure. I mean, you can probably write a book somewhere down the line, right? When you're old and
Wow.
rocking in your chair, and hire a good writer and just write what you went through. From high school to
Wow, man.
yeah,
Uh,
बॉम्बे. वो क्या था, वो दाऊद इब्राहिम का क्या बुक था, डोंगरी टू दुबई, यू राइट.
Dogri.
हाँ, केवी टू कुर्ला. Yeah, whatever.
That's a good
Yeah,
one.
do that, brother, do that. There is, I don't know, maybe you should start a biographical podcast series. Like, just
Bro,
just
no,
talk shit.
honestly, I don't mind the podcast setup, right? Like, I
Mm,
really don't mind podcast setup. I'm actually looking to like see couple of see. I This is also something that I've created, which I wanted to talk about a little.
mm,
Is I created this company called Earth Elements by AV, which is presets and LUTs. I don't know if you have paid attention.
kind of,
It's called
okay.
Elements by AV, and then I
Mm,
just started this company in the lockdown.
mm,
And I can't tell you the kind of people I'm meeting because of that, because it's just something randomly. I just get because in my YouTube, everyone keeps asking me, like they tell me, "Oh, your colors are great. Why don't you make lookup tables? Why don't you make
mm.
color presets and Lightroom presets and stuff?" And then because I had time, I said I'll do it, and spent like 2 months just like spiritually spending. And man, I can't thank the thought enough, because now I have like a second income which can give me so much cushion
Hmm.
for me to just like not, like I said, I can just take my small travel camera and just go around in the world and just keep shooting. And things like that, no, they are very like important, like to understand you have to give yourself cushion during
Hmm.
whatever you do, right? And like people keep asking me, like I am going to quit my job and get into photography, I'm going to do this. I would say, like, don't be radical, man. At that time I had like so much patience, and I had cushion from my brother and my family, so I was pretty fine. But I don't think everybody's situation is the same, so you have to create your own cushion for you to experiment or explore life on the other dimensions. And this is something that I keep telling in my podcast, like you need to do that. And that's why I was saying, podcast setups, no, they're great, man. Only thing is, now when I get back to work, there won't be time. I
Yeah,
can't
no,
do.
don't do it. Don't do it. It's just random. जब करने का मन लगा. तब
Hmm.
कर दो. Just put out one
Maybe you
episode.
should come one day and we should just talk, because I was actually thinking to talk about like my how was my 2020, because from where and how it went. So it was
Hmm.
quite a great year. So whenever I feel like, I'll call you, then maybe we can do one small
Yeah,
podcast on
sure,
on
sure.
my channel.
Hey, with or without me, people will listen to you, man. Come on. I mean, just do a monologue, do a series. Maybe you and Daria should sit down, right? Yeah, just talk shit. Just
Yeah,
grab a coffee. Just don't even get started. Just it's like Inception, no? You just what is the
mm,
dialogue in the Inception? You never know when the dream starts and when the dream ends. So you just start a conversation and you just start recording. Just don't tell people, right? That's one of my favorite things to do. Like don't tell people when you start recording, and just talk shit. Just and then you don't even have to edit, right? It's just start and
yeah, just
intro, exit
live.
music, लगा दो डाल दो. That will work out. That is what your story, your rise and your success deserves, right? At least 10, 15 episodes of worth of podcast, each around 30, 40 minutes. That will be cool. I don't know.
Thank you, man. Thank you so much. But I think you wait for my next future projects, which are actually in the pipeline. I think they will actually impress you better. I think they'll be really nice ones that will come, and then
Bro,
probably then we
we are already impressed. I don't know how far. I don't know. I'm really curious how much more you can offer. I'm really looking forward to it, brother. Thank you very much once again
thank
for
you,
your
man.
time,
It
folks.
was great
Go check.
time, honestly. Thank
Oh
you.
my God,
Thank you so much,
folks.
Najib. Thank
Here's the
you.
thing. Here's the thing, folks. Go to his pages. Go to his Insta. Go to his YouTube, especially YouTube. You want a cinematography masterclass? Go there. Check out what he has to say. Learn a bit. Right? That's his channel.
Thank
Everything will
you.
be in the description. Thank you once again, bro, for your time. Thank you once again, viewers and listeners, for your time listening to this podcast. Till we see you next time again with another episode.